And now, please stand, keeping the aisles clear, and welcome the class of 2016.
Honored speaker, Dr. Jain, President Tripathi, Dean Kane, and distinguished guests. The candidates for degrees are now assembled. Therefore, I officially declare the 170th annual commencement of the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences is now open.
Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. Would everyone please remain standing for our national anthem, and I asked gentlemen to please remove your caps. To lead us, I invite the school's Doc Appella group to come forward, and singing today are Alan Chen, Eric Gazor, Nathra Motherai, Chinnilo Obudin Gapa, Christopher Schwartz, Jamie Sklar, Rachel Stewart, and Raymond Mark St. Marie. Please be seated. Welcome all to the 170th commencement of the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. This is an extraordinarily special day for all of us. Our graduates in front of us will soon receive the Doctor of Medicine degree. Parents, spouses, family members, and friends appropriately exude great pride and joy for this incredible accomplishment. To the class of 2016, my heartfelt congratulations. We look forward, and as you've heard me say since you were first-year students, expect you to contribute to and have leadership roles in American and international medicine and biomedical research. On a personal note, this is also a very special event for me. This is my 10th commencement exercise here at the school, and as always, it's hard to believe that 10 years can go by so quickly. I want to specifically welcome our alumni attending from the class of 1966, celebrating 50 years of medicine, and our class of 1991, celebrating 25 years of medicine, including our commencement speaker, who we'll hear from shortly. I also want to recognize and thank the tireless efforts of our faculty and staff for preparing this outstanding class for careers in medicine and science. Please join me in acknowledging representative faculties from our 28 departments that are sitting behind me. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the University at Buffalo, Dr. Satish Tripathi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all our families and honored guests. Most of all, congratulations to the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences class of 2016. This is truly a historic occasion for more than one reason. You will go down in history as the first class to graduate from your newly named Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, and as one of the last classes to have completed your medical education on the South Campus as the medical school prepares to move to its new downtown home in 2017. But above all, you will make history and shape the future of your profession because of what you have learned here and how you will pass that knowledge on to others. Your achievements now and in the future are the outcome of your ethical pursuit of knowledge, inquiry, and discovery, your embrace of new ideas, new modes of thinking, and your commitment of collaboration, intellectual exchange, and dialogue across borders of all kinds, disciplinary, ideological, and cultural. These are the intellectual values we prize above all at UB. They are what we seek to instill in all of our students as we prepare them to the global leadership in their fields. As medical students, you have lived these values every day. And as graduates and UB-educated global citizens, you will carry these values with you out into the world. As you have learned, engaging with multiple and conflicting points of view is richly rewarding, but seldom easy. This year, universities across the nation have been the site of intense debate about what it means to create and sustain a genuinely inclusive campus environment. Here at UB, for example, we have grappled together with how to negotiate the boundaries of freedom of expression within an inclusive, welcoming academic community. These are difficult but necessary conversations, and there is great and enduring value to them. Exploring difficult concepts from multiple points of view is key to what we do as an academic community, and it is critical to leading and contributing meaningfully in every field, certainly to the medical and healthcare fields. When you are established in your careers and look back at your time at UB, I expect what you will remember above all are the people you lived and learned with here. You will remember the most difficult concepts in your field, not because you memorized them, but because you learned them through conversations with peers who challenge you to reach farther, dig deeper. You will remember vigorously debating complicated questions of medical ethics with students who saw the world differently than you. You will remember the first time you treated a patient from a culture very different from your own. And what you learned by looking through their eyes will shape the compassionate care you provide to future patients. Together with the concepts, theories, and practical techniques you have mastered in the lecture hall, lab, and exam room, this is what you will take with you into your professional lives. These values will shape every aspect of your life and work. The communities you serve as doctors, clinical researchers, and medical experts will be healthier and stronger for them, whether that means the bringing a cross-cultural perspective to your care of patients, collaborating with colleagues across different disciplines and health professions, or working to ensure equitable healthcare outcomes in local and global communities. In an increasingly globalized world, we need physicians with healthcare experts like you, collaborative leaders whose perspectives have been shaped by engaging with multiple points of view. Class of 2016, as you prepare to take up the next great challenge in your lives, know that your alma mater is deeply proud of you, and we look forward to all that you will achieve and contribute in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Tripathi. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce our honored speaker, Dr. Mukesh Jain. Dr. Jain is the Ellery Sedgwick Chair and Distinguished Scientist, Chief Scientific Officer, and Vice Dean for the Medical Sciences at University Hospitals in Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. Dr. Jain, a Buffalo native, earned his medical degree from our school in 1991, graduating summa cum laude. He completed his internal medicine residency at Harvard Medical School's Beth Israel Hospital. After research fellowships at Harvard, Dr. Jain completed his clinical cardiology fellowship at Brigham and Women's Hospital. He then served as the director of the program in cardiovascular transcriptional biology at Harvard before being recruited to Cleveland in 2006. Dr. Jain discovered a family of genetic factors that govern cellular immunity and metabolism, findings with broad implications across all biomedical disciplines. He is the recipient of many awards and honors, including mentoring awards from Harvard Medical School and Case Western Reserve University. He has delivered numerous lectures at major academic centers around the world and is the immediate past president of the American Society for Clinical Investigation, the oldest honorific physician-scientist organization in the United States. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mukesh Jain.
Thank you, Dean Kane, President Tripathi, and distinguished faculty. I'm enormously grateful for the privilege of participating in the 107th commencement of the University of Buffalo's Jacob School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. To the proud parents, family members, and friends, it is often stated that it takes a village to raise a child, and you collectively have served in that capacity, and your inspiration, encouragement, support over nearly 3 decades has culminated in this most august occasion. Congratulations to you. And last, but of course by no means least, to the most important members of this convocation, the graduates. Your hard work, commitment to excellence has resulted in achievement of this richly deserved, momentous milestone. Congratulations on this remarkable accomplishment. And please know that as a graduate of the school in 1991, it's really a privilege for me to be here to participate, albeit just for a few moments, in this most special moment in your life. Now, 25 years ago, I was one of you, sitting at commencement, waiting to graduate. In preparing these remarks, I tried really hard to go back in time and place myself in your shoes. What was I thinking about back then? What did I know or understand at that time? I share with you, with some embarrassment, the unvarnished, raw truth. Not much, not enough. For I knew how to be a good student, I had a penchant for the sciences, and I earned a medical doctorate. But did I really understand the transformative nature of this day and this ceremony? Again, with chagrin, I fear not. Now, adding to my angst in preparing these remarks was the realization that I could not recall anything from my med school commencement address. As you can imagine, I found this quite disconcerting. I'm not quite sure why. We didn't have cell phones, we didn't have Snapchat, or all the other numerous social media options to distract us back then. Troubled by this realization, I shared this personal feeling with my wife, a very accomplished physician in her own right. And sadly, literally less than a millisecond of reflection, she expressed a complete lack of surprise whatsoever at my failing. For she had concluded some time ago that I had not heard anything she had articulated for the past 25 years. So why would one logically expect I would be any different on graduation day? Fair point. She also reminded me of a quote from Abraham Lincoln, who stated, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say." Curiously, while this may be true of graduation commencement addresses, it was certainly not true of Lincoln, for his words were uttered as part of the Gettysburg Address. Now, all kidding aside, I share this personal reflection in case some of you graduating today are like me. And I am hopeful that some of my personal reflections to follow, derived from the past 25 years since my own graduation, may be helpful to you in some small way. Armed with the recognition that these moments can be difficult to remember, I decided to abandon the customary philosophical discourse and share with you a simple, singular message crystallized in the title of this address, "The Privilege to Impact." It is really important to appreciate what a privilege it is to bear the identity of a physician. It is, in my view, distinct from anything else. But with privilege comes enormous responsibility. The responsibility to impact humanity for social good, be that at the level of the individual patient, your community, or society as a whole. And the beauty of a career in medicine is that you will have ample opportunity to do so through your own actions or collaborative interactions with like-minded colleagues. Today is a seminal moment, for by the end of the day, you will have willfully crossed the proverbial Rubicon and your identity altered forever. This identity, that of a physician, a doctor, will accompany you for the entirety of your life. I pause because it's really important to appreciate this. Allow it to soak in and reflect on it. It will impact how society views you, whether it be family, friends, patients, colleagues, or complete strangers. In a few weeks, you will enter internship in the hospital, armed with your new identity and the attendant responsibilities. This is an exciting and daunting experience, but an enormous privilege. Bear in mind that our discipline is virtually unique in that our customers, if I can use that term, also known as the patient, prefer to be doing anything else other than spending time with us and partaking in our services. But they are compelled by illness, and they are compelled to withstand by virtue of your identity and the white coat, your questioning of sensitive topics, your poking and prodding, and your recommendations that may involve procedures and less than pleasant medications. Remember never to shortchange the individual's humanity. In the course of your evaluation, spend time learning about the individual beyond the illness, where they grew up, hobbies, profession, recreational activities. You will gain a deep connection, and it will make an enormous impact on that patient's experience. You will also quickly come to appreciate that you will have many external pressures impacting your efforts. Nurses asking for orders, social work, discharge planning, attendings asking for test results, chief residents asking you to present at clinical conference, and the pesky medical student asking for your undivided attention because they need an honors in that clerkship. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Bear in mind that no matter how challenged you feel, no matter tired you are not the one in the hospital gown. You are not the one in the hospital bed. Patients do not place their trust in machines, devices, or institutions. They place their trust in you. Do not shortchange the primacy of this sacred interaction, for it is the engagement that defines you. This is your responsibility and your chance, potentially your only chance with that individual, to impact that life. I'm reminded of the beautiful words of a Quaker missionary, Grellet, who wrote, "I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." Very important words. Cherish the privilege to impact an individual life. Now, one of the other fabulous aspects of medicine, which I certainly did not appreciate fully in 1991, is that while you have, by virtue of today, an established core identity, there's an inherent flexibility to grow in diverse ways throughout the course of your career. Consequently, there are many additional avenues for you to exact impact. Some of you may choose to engage in research along with clinical care. Others may extend the professional purview to engage in medical education, law, business, and drug development in industry. These are all wonderful engagements. And the fact that you are a physician will facilitate efforts to participate in these additional paths, because most assume, and I think properly so, that if you're capable enough to complete medical school and see patients, you're likely to succeed in anything you do. Keep that in mind. It's pretty fantastic. This was very important in my own career, for as I became facile with patient care, I also began to appreciate the enormous advances in biology and technology, but that there was uncertainty regarding how best to treat someone. There are many gaps in our knowledge. Do not ignore such opportunities. Stay curious. Measure something. And with a little bit of hard work and luck, you may have the opportunity to impact standard of care in addition to delivery of care through the application of the scientific method to biological problems and unmet health needs. Indeed, application of the scientific method is truly one of the great achievements of humankind. Reflect for a moment on a singular parameter, lifespan. Modern humans are thought to have arisen 200,000 BC and the dawn of modern science in the mid-1800s. So during 200,000 plus years, human lifespan increased by 20 years, and it has increased by 25 years since 1850. The reasons for this are, of course, manifold, but advances in science of medicine have been central. Now, nevertheless, there is much to learn, and we do not understand everything, and each one of you can contribute to knowledge. I'm sure you all remember a monumental event in medicine about a dozen years ago, the sequencing of the human genome. With this remarkable accomplishment came great expectations that are starting to bear fruit. But what we also learned through sequencing of the genome is that much of what we know is based on only a few % of the human genome. Imagine the impact that you might have, that you might be able to exact if you could fully illuminate the function of the remaining 95% of the genome that still largely remains as dark matter. My own interest in research developed during residency, and so I decided to take time off to pursue this interest. I was blessed to work under the tutelage of two distinguished mentors who instilled in me a passion for discovery, an event that would forever change the trajectory of my career. This is a really important point. Regardless of what you pursue, identify role models, identify good mentors, very critical. We would go on to make some meaningful insights into the biology of the immune and metabolic systems, findings that are now appreciated to have implications for many of the great medical afflictions of today: cardiovascular disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative disorders. For those with aspirations to engage in discovery research, I will simply say that it is an absolutely intoxicating experience. Trying to understand the inner workings of nature and simultaneously getting paid to do it. What could be more beautiful? I would be remiss not to share with you an interesting link between my early research career and the University of Buffalo. My laboratory was located in the Thorne Research Building at Harvard Medical School. And some of the senior members of the audience sitting behind me will recognize that name as very familiar. I mention this because the building is named after Dr. George Thorne, a Buffalo native and graduate of the UB class of 1929, a true giant in science and medicine. Over the course of his illustrious career, he would provide deep insights into the biology of the adrenal and renal systems, oversee the development of dialysis and renal transplantation, serve as chairman of medicine at the Brigham Women's Hospital, serve as editor of Harrison's Principles of Medicine, and play a dominant role in convincing billionaire Howard Hughes to establish an institute committed to medical research, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. Since its inception in 1953, the HHMI, Howard Hughes Medical Institute, has produced over 24 Nobel laureates that have changed the face of medicine and science. I've had the privilege to serve as an advisor to this institute, and I do it with great pride, knowing that the birth of this remarkable organization has roots to the University of Buffalo, and it is a legacy that you now share. My final set of comments center on another important aspect of a career in medicine: the ability to collaborate, to be part of a team, to exact change. I have found this to be most gratifying, for we have a lot of amazing people in medicine. It's one of the true joys. And it is remarkable what a group of bright, dedicated individuals connected by a common purpose, a common thread can achieve. A few years ago, I had the privilege to lead one of the oldest organizations in the U.S. committed to the physician scientist, the American Society for Clinical Investigation. During this period, my colleagues and I set out to develop programs to support the scientific efforts, educational needs, and translational aspirations of physicians to impact human health. I will focus for a minute on that latter issue of the translational impact. Specifically, what I'm referring to is the fact that despite the enormous increases in our understanding of biology, the number of medicines being developed has actually decreased. This is a real disconnect, and the reasons for this are complex, but amongst the most important is that physicians and scientists lack the tools, support, and resource to move a discovery from bench to bedside. 4 years ago, we founded an effort to support inventive physician researchers across the globe to take their discoveries and move them from bench to bedside. In this short period of time, the program, termed the Harrington Project in honor of the impact philanthropist who resourced it, has grown with remarkable speed, support across the globe, and has already led to the development of new medications to treat human disease. Working as a team with like-minded colleagues around the globe to accelerate the generation of new medicines has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my professional life. So remember, reflect carefully on opportunities, and if you are passionate about the effort, invest yourself fully. I'd like to close with the following thoughts. Your generation of physicians, like many before you, will face significant challenge. Contemporary issues include rising healthcare costs, universal access, aging population, mental health, air pollution, and emerging infectious disease threats. And undoubtedly, new and unanticipated challenges will arise. Do not shy away, but take on these challenges. To paraphrase Gandhi, you may never know what results come of your action, but if you do nothing, there will be no result. There will be no impact. Remember that you are empowered to affect change by virtue of your identity, and that you have a responsibility to do so to impact human health for social good. And if you bear in mind some of the principles that we've discussed today, you can, again, as Gandhi would say, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Efforts that I augur will bring you great joy, fulfillment, and happiness. I wish each of you all the very best in your endeavors. Congratulations again, class of 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. Next, it's my privilege to introduce the class speaker. And so, Jason, keep this in mind. This is the last time you'll be introduced as Mr. Jason Edwards.
Hi, everyone. Can we talk about something first? Scheduling of this event? How am I supposed to follow that? I don't have any credentials. I've been a doctor for like 17 minutes now. You know, Michael Jordan, no one follows Michael Jordan after a dunk contest. People don't tell jokes after Richard Pryor speaks. So someone's got to change the format here. But I'll do my best, I guess. So this is an incredible honor. First of all, they've never let me this close to Dean Cain. You have wonderful hair. I'm going to ask you to autograph the last page of my speech when this is over, and it would be great if you could ignore the header entitled Special Circumstance Loan Forgiveness Form. I want to start off by saying I've never been so honored in my life. Being here with you today, having the opportunity to tell you what this means to me, and how the last 4 years have shaped my life is a gift. When I started at medical school, one of my main goals was to establish as many meaningful relationships as I could with all of you. And I know the caliber of my peers and who I'm looking over today. And you guys have made it very easy to build relationships and memories with. And your character and your prowess is what makes me the proudest to be here today. And the relationships are something that I'm thankful for every day. And perhaps it was the manner that I got accepted into medical school that continues to remind me of just what an opportunity I've had. And for those of you who don't know, I was very, very close to not being one of your classmates. I promise not to talk too much about myself, but I want to put this moment into perspective for you. 4 years ago, today, around this time, I was getting the wonderful news that I'd been accepted into a school in the South. Being a lifetime Western New York kid, the culture shock of moving south of the Mason-Dixon line was just a little bit too much for me to handle. Regrettably, as this day came, my willingness to move was absent, and I turned down moving. I was on the UB waiting list, desperately wanting to be a Buffalo Med grad. I continued to grip to the dwindling chances I had of getting in. With my spirits untarnished, I began to plan for my future, studying to retake the entrance exams and tighten up my resume. It had been 2 weeks. The waiting list had been closed, and I had began planning for the next year, slowly, very slowly. With regret and anxiety about my future, I turned to my new addiction, biking. I had just gotten a road bike, and I had been tinkering with it constantly to take my mind off of my shortcomings. Up until today, I feel like the last 4 years have been segmented into 2 parts. I remember the night before medical school so vividly, perhaps because I didn't know I was going to medical school the night before. I remember it being about 3:24 in the morning, exactly. Worry much? Shortly after losing money in Texas Hold'em to some of my high school friends, sitting in bed watching YouTube videos on how high the seat of my bike should be relative to the handlebars. Tomorrow I'll get up and I'll raise the seat on my bike, I thought. That was the extent of my plans for that day. I remember I put my phone on silent, thinking nothing of importance would come through the hotline, so why risk my ringtone waking me up before 11 in the morning? My head hitting the pillow, my eyes closed, trying to block out that feeling that I made the biggest mistake of my life, I was awoken by what sounded like counterintelligence torture. It was my mother. Hi, Mom. And I'll back up for my impression. Jay! It's Dr. Rosso! And then I'll do my impression of Mr. Rosso. Hey, Jay, you got in. And did you know Milford Fillmore was shot in the head in front of me at UB? And he would have been saved if a normal doctor wasn't on vacation? Not now, Rosso. I don't have any time. Apparently, on the second day of orientation, someone had dropped out of the class, and consequently, the school had turned back on the waiting list to fill an open spot. And that was me. I put on a blue button-up, jeans. I drove 80 miles an hour, and I arrived about 20 minutes late for the first day of class. And it still feels like I haven't woken up from that night. I still feel like I haven't fully processed that event. And here today, standing in front of some of the most wonderful people I've ever had the pleasure to meet, some of the best friends I've ever made, surrounded by the people that will change and have changed the world and will leave such a positive impact on the future, it only feels like I'm deeper into that dream. I have a few thoughts I would like to impart on you today. First, remember how you felt when you first learned you got into medical school. Try to think back to that first surge of elation, that first rush of dopamine, that fist-clenching drop to your knees and praise the heavens moment, that joy when you first told your parents, your friends, your significant others, that pride you felt, that smile you couldn't wipe off your face, that first night you couldn't sleep from excitement, that warmth you had in your heart when you knew you would have the privilege of helping people for the rest of your life. Now, for some of you, I'm sure that feeling hasn't left, but in just my 2 years in the hospital, I've seen so many young doctors, sometimes 5 or 10 years out, so cynical. They're already cynical. It seems like they've been stripped of all the joys of their accomplishments already. Maybe it's been beaten out of us by the system, by the Medscape articles I receive via email every night on doctor burnout percentages. When I see that over 50% of my specialty are dissatisfied with their jobs and wish they had chosen a different profession, which also leads me to another question: why do unhappy people love questionnaires so much? It's like that's the only people that are doing it. If you listen to the statistics, doctors overall are poor, in debt, burned out, constantly being sued. They wish they had gone into banking, computer engineering, and architecture. But I refuse to believe that this is my future. Call me idealistic, call me naive, call me over-optimistic. But this is the best job in the world. When your intern year is bearing down on you in a few months, when you feel overwhelmed, when you question every decision up to that point and it feels like the statistics are winning, remember that first feeling when you got the news that you got into medical school. I know how well this works for me because I was so close to not being here today to address all of you wonderful people. The beauty of my job is the beauty of the job I'm going to have is the creativity that it affords. You can do anything. You can go anywhere and help in whatever capacity fulfills you. And the future in front of you today is limitless. Don't fall in line. or you will end up as a participant on that Medscape survey, telling all of us how exactly it was you were burned out. I know that challenging days and sleepless nights are ahead. I know that we will go home worrying about our patients. I know we will see people at their weakest, their sickest, and we will take that home with us. For every attending that you see that is miserable, explaining that they were not this cynical when they got into the profession, there is an attending on the other end of the spectrum with a smile on his face and hopeless optimism. Taking that extra second with the patient to remember something about their family, the name of a pet, to ask how their son's baseball team is doing, to comment on how they saw the patient's band that's on their shirts in the 80s live. We all have had a heart-to-heart at some point with ourselves. I know that I have, and I'm guessing yours one's similar to mine. When I'm in charge, I'm going to take that extra step to establish a relationship with my patient. Don't forget about the promises you make to yourself. Be the person on the call sheets that gets your other interns excited to come in and work with you for a 12-hour shift. I had an attending in neurology that I really admired. He said something that resonated with me. He told me that when he was a resident, he would never pick up the phone. If a nurse or a patient had a question, he would go to them and talk with them face to face. By doing this, he established relationships with people, with his patients and his staff, and they were happier. His initial reactions, by investing time in them, there was less follow-up, and the clarity of what needed to be done was astounding, meaning that there were less follow-up questions, meaning he got his 4 hours of sleep when everyone else was getting their 3. He said one of the nicest unintended consequences of this practice was he began to notice that when he ordered labs, they seemed to magically go atop of the pile. Life is better for everyone when you are nice. People do better when their providers show that they really care. No little details about a patient. It makes someone's day when you ask them about their grandkids. But don't just stop there. Appreciate the whole hospital that you work in. Learn the names of the janitors and say hi to them when you walk by. Tell the chef downstairs that his chicken fingers are the best you've ever had. Everyone in the hospital plays a significant role. Second point, remember those coveted initials that you'll get at the end of your name today are not for you. They are not intended to be self-serving. They are not to brag about to your Tinder dates. They are not meant to be a one-up for your parents to show to their neighbors. It is not a reservation at a restaurant or a good parking spot. Those initials are a beacon of light alerting the community that they can trust you when they are sick, depressed, scared, abused, overwhelmed, and famished. The MD should be used like the bat symbol, shining into the sky to inform you that there's work to be done, and not you shining it on others to show how much work you have done. You have such a finite time on earth to make an impact, but those 2 letters will open the doors to being an integral member of the community. Don't just be a physician. Be an advocate. Be a voice for people that don't have their own. It's not enough to just be an MD. You can't just simply treat DKA, remove a patient's symptomatic gallbladder, or prescribe antibiotics. Watson can do all that. Our job is not within the spaces. It lives outside the margins. It's rallying a family unit around an end-of-life care for a loved one, guiding a heroin addict through a rough relapse, providing a safe conduit for an abuse victim. Empathy and compassion is where our profession morphs from a job into a vocation. Thank you all for never making me feel like the last member of this class. You embraced me from the first break of histology, and you've made these last 4 years meaningful. Unfortunately, I still don't know much histology. I attribute that to the 20 minutes of the first class that I missed. I still don't see that squiggly line that you're pointing at, Dr. Glomsky. Out of respect, I'll nod my head and tell you it's a lysosome. Recently, it was very clear to me that medical school was coming to an end. I first became aware that I might have been here too long when I asked the forensic pathologist, without hesitation, during an autopsy, what the best way to kill someone was without getting caught. And honestly, I don't know what's more concerning. The fact that I thought in my mind and deemed that good fodder and asked that question, or the pathologist responding with not 1, but 2 choices. 2. I'm not going to share those with you today for the sake of becoming an accomplice. It was the kid at graduation. He told me how to do it. As we have more free time in our fourth year, attend dances and events to celebrate these accomplishments, it becomes clear that medical school was never as bad as our anxieties allowed us to believe. We begin to realize that the relationships we have established with our classmates are lifelong bonds. One of the cruelest parts of life is not living in the moment and not appreciating the present. On our pre-match retreat, we were guided in meditation. We were told to close our eyes and focus on our breath. Don't try to control it, just notice it. The only quote today I will offer you is from Andrew Bernard at The Office. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Contrary to popular belief, your residency will be an incredible experience. When the next few years become overwhelming, find a quiet corner, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Focus on the present. Realize how fortunate you are for that moment. Unless somebody is coding. Then save that person, and then do that. I will forever be indebted to my parents who gave me the privilege of pursuing my academics and helping me become the man I am today. I will forever be indebted to UB and the city of Buffalo for my education. I look forward to being a leader in the Buffalo community as it rises from the shadows of the fallen Rust Belt era and slowly takes on its new identity as a leader in medicine. Before I go, I just wanted you to mention that since Donald Trump was here recently, there's a petition going around from the Trump people. It's to build a wall around the new medical school. It is to keep the dentists out. He assures me that all the funds will be from the dentists. Truly, thank you for your time today. If you'll excuse me, I have to go fix my bike. I've been putting it off for 4 years.
Thank you, Jason. The school's yearbook is called Iris, and it's a tradition in the school each year to dedicate the school's yearbook to certain people. So to lead that off, I invite two of our graduates, Stephen Gangloff and Nathan Olszewski, to do the dedication.
I'd like to start off by saying that was an awesome speech, Jason. You had us all laughing and rolling, but I think you really hit the point about what this day really means. So very well done. Congratulations to the class of 2016. Thank you to the parents and the families for all the support, and thank you to the faculty behind me for everything. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So every year, our yearbook, formerly known as the Iris, is produced for the graduating class. The yearbook serves as a permanent portal through which we can look back at all of the memories we have made and all of the friendships we have developed throughout the last 4 years. The yearbook is also our last chance to honor those who have had a profound impact on our training and education. Every year, the yearbook is dedicated to an individual who demonstrates exemplary work, compassion, and dedication to making the overall experience at UB top-notch. Whether it be in the clinics, the office, or the classroom, this individual is someone who has had a drastic impact on our education and development as physicians. While there were many choices, the person we chose for dedication was the obvious choice. We chose to dedicate the 118th volume of the Iris to Dr. Avery Ellis. Dr. Ellis was an esteemed cardiologist, faculty member, and dean of curriculum at our university. We chose Dr. Ellis because he was compassionate to both his patients and his students, His attitude was always positive and upbeat, and he had an unrelenting passion to make sure that the medical education at UB was second to none. Dr. Ellis believed that equally important to having a solid fundamental knowledge was that we were also healthy as individuals. He was more than an educator, he was also a mentor. We knew that if we had a question about a test, classwork, advice for studying for the boards, or even personal matters, he was always there for us.
In addition to his roles as a mentor and educator, Dr. Ellis had significant influence on curricular change. We feel that our class has, in the spirit of Dr. Ellis, been a model for curricular achievement, as in the past 4 years we have experienced numerous changes and improvements that continue to set our university out above others. You can see evidence of Dr. Ellis's work in many areas every day at our university. Through his role as dean, he has had hand in educational research, outcome evaluation, and instructional enhancements, as well as the introduction of new courses and teaching ideas. For example, during my first year, I had the pleasure to be one of a small group of medical students in Dr. Ellis's interprofessional education pilot course, which was a unique learning experience where I was able to work alongside students from other health professional schools here at UB, solving difficult patient encounters. I gained experience not just on how to be a doctor, which is the traditional focus of medical school, but also on how to be the member of a care team, working alongside nurses, occupational therapists, pharmacists, and more. Intuitively, working as a patient-centered team should be a highly stressed component of medical education countrywide, but surprisingly, this idea as a component of medical education is still new. Because of Dr. Ellis's work, this valuable pilot course brought the important idea of interprofessional education to the surface here at UB, adding another unique aspect to our already unique curriculum. More recently, just a month ago, I had the opportunity to be part of another brainchild of Dr. Ellis, the Introduction to Internship capstone course. Dr. Ellis provided the initial tectonic movement to get this course off the ground, and after his passing, it was continued to light by 2 more of our university's finest, Dr. Sheehan and Dr. Cooper. This year was the first run-through of this course, and it was unanimously deemed to be invaluable by the students. This course was a 2-week-long intern training boot camp where we were exposed to real-life scenarios we were likely to encounter in our first year of residency, including, of course, receiving phone calls about our patients at 2 o'clock in the morning. I could continue to list numerous ways by which Dr. Ellis shaped the phenomenal medical education our class received, but instead I would like to end on saying that this dedication is more than a simple sentiment. It is a message of cumulative gratitude of a class who owes its success to the wonderful education we are so fortunate to receive. Again, we would like to thank Dr. Ellis and everyone who has continued to push his thoughts and his ideas to make UB education everything that it is today. Dr. Ellis left us far too soon, but he will be forever remembered in our hearts and in our mind as we practice as physicians. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen and Nathan and the class. Next, it's my privilege to introduce, and this will be for the presentation of the Parents' Council gift to the school, to ask Daryl Ciambella to please join me on the stage.
I'm here to present the class composite picture. For the past 4 years, I've been an officer of the Parents' Council, and along with my wife, Kathy, we are parents of a 4th-year, soon-to-be graduate. Parents' Council would like to thank the administration and the faculty, especially Dean Kane, Dr. Mannion, Dr. Severin, and Dr. Milling for their continued support of Parents' Council. When the first class began at this medical school 170 years ago, it was the beginning of a family rich in tradition and greatness, a family that has witnessed over 15,000 fellow medical students, and as all of you will today, triumphantly walk across the stage and become doctors. And as we present this family photo, of the class of 2016, which will be hung in the medical school and the new medical school. Each student photo represents not only the 4 years of hard work and acquired knowledge, but each one also represents the many bonds of lifelong friendships, both personal and professional. So the Parent Council congratulates all the new doctors in their continued pursuit of excellence. And Dr. Kane, we proudly present to you a family picture of 2016.
Thank you, Darrell, and thanks to the Parents' Council.